Found Footage Fun. I'm John Retton with a review of Paranormal Activity 3. And unfortunately, this is where the series started to go downhill dramatically. Now, full disclosure, I actually love the Paranormal Activity franchise. I recognize that outside the first two movies, none of them are any good, but I still enjoy some of the scares and everything, and I like the fact that some found footage stuff, they can play with it and they can have a little bit of fun. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Paranormal Activity franchise, basically the idea is there's this ghost that's haunting particular people, but mainly this bloodline because they're bound to this ghost because of a deal that was made for wealth and power by one of the ancestors years and years ago, and that's actually covered in another one, Paranormal Activity 2. Now, I love the first Paranormal Activity, and then the second one I thought built on it, and actually it would have been fine if they had just left it right there. In this one, it's an origin story about the sisters, Christy and Katie, what happened to them and how they came to be, how Toby came around, this demonic entity that is tied to the family and is going to end up, getting, being bound to one of the sisters because ritualistic covens, am I right? But in this one, what's nice about it is we get a bit, of background on, what the girls went through, and the mother, and then the grandmother, and all this shit going on, and how found footage movies would have been done in 1988, like dismantling oscillating fans and putting a board on so the camera just keeps going back and forth. So, in the beginning, though, we see footage from the second one where after, something was destroyed in the house, Katie comes over, she has a bunch of boxes. One of the boxes is VHS tapes from, home movies. So, okay, not the animated series home movies. That would have been kind of weird to do in 1988 since they hadn't been animated yet and even thought of yet. So, then after, another attack, suddenly these tapes are gone. And then we have one of the tapes played. So, seemingly, the demon took one of the tapes, put it in a demonic VCR, which is apparently the only way you can have a VCR. Now, do you guys have a VCR? Answers in the comments. Does anybody still have a working VCR? They haven't been around for a long goddamn time. I remember them. Be kind, please rewind. That's something that stuck in my head. You had to do that with a lot of those tapes when you got them from video stores. Yes, that's how old I am. I remember VHS tape video stores. So, we see footage of them as kids back in 1988. One thing about the second movie, though. Katie was, adult Katie said to Christy, I remember you crying all the time and everything. You wouldn't talk for a while, all this. And then I guess we kind of get an answer to that, but they make it like Katie was the strong kid and Christy was the weak kid. Yeah, it's almost reversed in the third movie where Christy is, talking to Toby a whole lot. And Katie's kind of the defiant one, but then becomes the weak one a little bit quicker, a little bit after like a couple incidents. And maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but because it's just a horror movie storyline, like in a plot line that they, have very loosely tied together. But it just seems a little weird that they would say that. And then, hey, we're just going to pretend that the viewers didn't see that and we're just going to do our own version. So there's a stepfather, Dennis, and then there's the mother, Julie, who is, they're trying to make ends meet and everything. They're married. They're happy. Dennis is being a great father to the girls, even though he's not her actual father. Or their actual father, that is, and Julie's mother, who clearly, obviously is goddamn evil, and they don't even fucking try to hide it. She leads a coven of witches, which we find out a little bit later. This house was also in Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. It was a house that everybody, that they showed up at and everything and tried to do that assault. You remember that? Remember that movie? You remember, if you've seen any of the Paranormal Activity movies, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. It was a very, very weird thing. It was kind of a cool callback, except it was also retconning a whole bunch of stuff because they're like, we don't have enough locations. Let's just go back to shit we've seen before. So, basically, we get found footage stuff, a haunting, and we get to find out what the fuck happened. And not a lot, honestly. Now, usual bumps in the night. Christy's playing with the demonic entity Toby that she's tied to because of ritualistic coven shit. And then eventually, she, reveals to Dennis, well, I can't tell you the secrets because then I won't be safe. He won't hurt me, but I won't be safe. And then we show footage, Christy playing with Toby. And then one night later, a babysitter shows up, babysitter they've had before. She's just sitting in the kitchen. And then the camera pans, there's this oscillating camera that, just goes back and forth. It goes to the front door. There's a kid in a bed sheet. After the girl had played ghost, pans back. There's a babysitter. Thing's gone, and then the bed sheet's right behind her. Bed sheet, fades because it's a ghost. And then she tries to go up and see if the kids are playing. Then she goes to this door that Christy, has this little, like crawl space door for like playing up in the attic. And Toby don't like that, and he sends her away, basically scares her, and then she runs away. And Christy says, "I don't want to talk to you anymore." Then suddenly Christy gets sick. And then Dennis's friend Randy, who does video stuff as well, comes to stay with Katie. Earlier, he had mentioned that Bloody Mary was a game to play. And what basically happens is they play Bloody Mary, which is the perfect thing to do in a goddamn haunted house. Look up Bloody Mary if you're not familiar with it. Don't look up Urban Legends Bloody Mary, Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, they play it, and then shit goes south, and the room gets kind of torn apart. Well, furniture gets knocked over, and Randy gets scratched, and he's like, "I'm leaving," he's the smartest goddamn character there. And then Dennis goes over the Coven history, while Katie gets attacked by Toby, and the mother says, "Hey, we're gonna leave. We're gonna fucking leave. Because after, it's okay, just ignore it," is what Chrissy said. "Toby, I'll do it, just let her go because Katie got captured." Well, they didn't want it, the kids wanted to go, but the mother didn't. And then the mother goes from the kitchen. Suddenly everything's gone from the kitchen. She doesn't want to leave, and then stuff drops down. The demons are terrible movers. And then they'd go to the mother's house, and basically everybody dies. There's the Coven of Witches that just suddenly show up. Dennis gets extreme chiropractic work. His spine gets broken. And then Katie or Christy is going to be bound to Toby. And Katie's going to be part of the ritual. Also, the mother's dead. She just suddenly dead. They had to kill her, I guess. For whatever fucking reason. I remember kind of being a little bit chilled by the end of it. But it just had all this shit going on. It was just fucking ridiculous. It just threw everything in the last 20 minutes. And that's Paranormal Activity 3. That's all the Paranormal Activity movies in a nutshell. So anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.